Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tom Harvey. If you don't know me, I'm a local realtor here in Clark County, Southwest Washington. And today, the topic I'm going to be covering, common mistakes that sellers make when they list their home on the market. A lot of reasons that people make mistakes is because they might not have the right guidance, or there might be emotional attachment involved or a lot of stress involved. So let's just jump right into the first topic. All right, the first mistake sellers usually make is overpricing their property. Now, we want to price our property based on data, not emotions. And what happens when you do price your property over its market value? One of the things that happen when you overprice your property is a low appraisal. And what happens when there's a low appraisal is that, the bank will only lend on the appraised value. So let's say your house is listed and under contract for $700. The appraiser comes and he says, hey, the appraised value is $650. What happens is now that the buyer has to make up the difference, which is $50,000, or the seller has to lower the contract price from $700 to $650. And if this can't happen, and if two parties can't agree and are just butting heads, the deal, depending on the terms of the contract, can fall through. And usually the appraisal is at the end of the transaction after the inspection. So it's around, it could be 2 weeks, 10 days, a week before closing, and then the deal falls apart. Or you lower your price and your contract price by $50,000 in this case. It's a huge burden, and it can really screw up your plans and your timeline. And if the deal does fall through, you have to go back on the market, which is a big red flag to the buyers out there. And it can really impact the value of your home, and it could really impact on you making as much money as you wanted, or even more money. So you could make less money is what I'm trying to say. So a low appraisal can definitely impact the sale of your home after it goes back on the market. Buyers are going to see red flags. They're going to be asking questions. They're not going to be urgent to, make an offer that you necessarily like. And, you'll probably have to be calling your movers and cancel those plans. If you're relocating for a job, you have to tell your boss, hey, deal fell through. I won't be there on the day that I said I'd be there. So please avoid low appraisals. If you want to know more about that, I can walk you through a way that we can avoid low appraisals if you do get an over asking price. Another thing that happens when you overvalue or overprice your house is that it will just sit on the market. It becomes a stale listing. And when it becomes a stale listing, buyers aren't really urgent to write an offer. There isn't as much attraction. You're actually helping your neighbors and other families who've listed their home in your area sell their house, because they see that they can get the same property or a nicer property for the same price or for less. So we want to focus on selling your house, not other people's homes. And that's another thing that happens when you do overprice your house. So yeah, usually people overprice their house based on emotions, like I said before, or improper guidance. Their agent might not have given them the best advice, or might not have told them the hard truth of what their home is really worth. And instead of them selling your house, you hired them to just list it, and you're pretty much giving them a free marketing campaign. So now that we talked about improper guidance and not having proper advisement, let's talk about hiring the wrong agent. This can definitely impact the sale of your home. So here are some things that you should look out for when hiring an agent. So you want to hire an agent that's experienced, that is up to date with the market trends, that knows the market, that knows the data, that has strategy to sell your house for what you're asking or more, okay? That can understand the contracts, that can read an offer and know the nuances of the contract and see where the seller's mind is at, okay? So some of these agents are part-time agents. They do a part-time, they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. These agents aren't as sharp as an agent who does it full-time like myself. Another agent that you want to be wary of is a discount broker. A lot of sellers ask, the agent at some point, hey, what do you charge? What's your compensation rate, right? And for example, just for simple purposes in Washington State, compensation is totally negotiable, but for simple math, let's just say the agent says 6% when you ask them. And then you counter them and you say, how about 5? I know a broker who could even do it for 4.5. And then they say to you, hey, if you sign with me today at 5%, would you do that? Would you sign? Would you hire me? If they don't give any pushback, if they don't fight for their income, if they don't even try to negotiate or come up with a win-win with you, they are demonstrating 2 things. First thing is that they don't value their income, which is the same income that provides for their family. It puts food on their table. It keeps the lights on, right? The second thing they're demonstrating to you is that they're a weak negotiator. You're hiring them to help you sell their house, which is one of the largest transactions you'll ever do in your life. And if they don't fight for their own income, do you think they're going to fight for yours? How quick will they be to accept and talk you into accepting an offer that is not acceptable, where the terms aren't in your court, where the price isn't as good as you'd like, right? So these are things to be careful of. Now, it's always case by case. Every listing is different. My commission ranges depending on the circumstances, but be wary of discount brokers. Another thing I want to talk about is hiring a family member or a friend, right? So let's not forget, this is a business transaction, okay? And sometimes it's hard to separate business and the family and the friend relationship. Now, when you're selling your house, it can be stressful. There can be some personal information, right? Your finances, you and the husband might not see eye to eye, and the family member or the friend might not see that part of your life. And it can get very awkward and it can just be uncomfortable, right? So I totally admire that people want to help out their friends and family, but this is a huge sale. It's probably one of the largest sales and probably one of the largest moving of money that you'll do in your life. So once again, let's put emotions aside and handle this like a business transaction. If a family and friend makes you all these promises in the very beginning and you guys establish boundaries, standards, expectations, and they're not meeting those during the transaction, how comfortable are you going to feel with holding them accountable? Some people don't because they don't want to come off as rude. They don't want to hurt that relationship. They don't want the family dinner, the birthday, the Thanksgiving dinners to be awkward. So really, it's not impossible to hire a family member or a friend, but if you do, just be comfortable with separating the business relationship and the friendship or the relationship you have with your family member. So another thing I want to talk about is having your home ready to show. So you got the house priced correctly. Let's say you have a good agent you're confident in. Now it's ready to tour. So here are some mistakes that sellers make when their house is ready to show and ready to have buyers tour. First off is not hiring a good photographer. Your agent should be doing that. Make sure that they hire a good photographer because the first impression is everything. The first 3 photos on the real estate websites that your buyers use are huge. That's what intrigues them to see it in person. Now, let's say you hired a good photographer and your pictures are beautiful, and they walk in the door. One of the first things that they notice is the smell, right? So if you have a dog, if you have a cat, make sure it doesn't smell like that. And sometimes when we live in a house for long enough, we don't smell those smells anymore, but the buyers do because it's the first time they're walking in. So if you do have a dog, if you do have a cat, make sure that you can place them somewhere during showings. Make sure you do a carpet clean, a deep clean. Make sure that house smells fresh, right? Another mistake sellers make is they don't declutter. When you walk in a house and it's cluttered, I don't know about you, but for me, when my house is cluttered, I feel anxious. It actually leaches energy off of me, and I think that might happen to a buyer as well. So when they walk in and there's clutter, it's a big distraction from the beautiful hardwood floors that you have, from the beautiful upgrades that you've done, from the features that will sell your home. Clutter can distract them from that. Another thing I want to talk about is, in regards to clutter, is making sure that there's no dirty dishes in the sink, making sure laundry isn't sitting out on a bed, making sure laundry is folded and put away. Once again, those are all distractions. Another thing I want to touch on is depersonalizing the house. And what I mean by that is if you have family photos, take them down and put them in a box. Because when a buyer walks in there and they see your family and the beautiful memories that they've made in your home, they only envision you in that house, right? Not all buyers, but I think a lot of buyers would just envision you in there, which is a distraction again. So the whole point of showing and touring the house is so they can envision themselves living there. So just make sure that you depersonalize it, you declutter it, and you have that place clean, all right? So thank you for watching. Let's wrap this up. If you have any questions, I do free consultations. I provide free value. I'm not the perfect fit for everybody, and not everyone's a perfect fit for me. But if you'd like to sit down and have a cup of coffee or have a conversation, I'd love to walk you through my process on how I sell homes at asking or over asking. And also, there's never a bad time to know what one of your largest investments costs and what its value is, aka your home. So I can do that easily, and I can do that anytime you ask. So if you'd like a home value report, please give me a call. I'd be happy to shake your hand and go on a tour of your home, all right? So please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I really appreciate you for watching, and have a beautiful day.